Hello, my name is Nicole Winbush, and I'm a physician in the Sutter Institute for Health and Healing San Francisco Clinic. So today I'd like to share a few strategies to help support rest, having a restful night's sleep. And so let's get started. So sleep is critically important. I think we all recognize how important it is. And this quote by Matthew Walker, who did a very impressive book all about sleep that came out a couple of years ago, highlights the ways in which, just a few of the ways in which sleep can just be so supportive for learning, for our ability to respond in a way that's balanced and stable to help us with our problem solving and our reasoning skills. So in addition to a variety of other supports that sleep does, including helping to support blood sugar regulation, blood pressure control. And, especially in this time of increased stress with the COVID pandemic and with just a degree of uncertainty that marks a lot of our day-to-days, sleep becomes even more foundational and important. So one of the things that's helpful to remember is that our biology as human beings really developed through the millennia in concert with our environment. And key to that is the sun, which helps us really set what the cycles of day and night are. And being exposed to sun early in the morning, ideally seeing the sun shortly after getting up, perhaps going outside, can be very helpful to cue that day-night cycle, as well as getting out around midday for some movement or some exercise, again, can be helpful. So, one of the important things to just keep that biological clock running smoothly so that hopefully you feel ready to wake up in the morning and ready to go to sleep at night is to get some access to natural light during the day. Similarly, it can be a challenge for folks who work at night, but trying to, again, create some sort of reliable rhythm, even if those cycles are reversed. So trying to sleep as much as you can in complete darkness and trying to avoid the bright light of the early morning if that's really your evening when you're leaving work. So the next key point is around having balance. I think in all things we need balance. And while a lot of times when people think about sleep and rest, they concentrate more on what people need to do right before they go to bed. It's as much informed by how we spend our time during the day, including certainly feeling like you've spent your day well. So for some of us, sometimes it's nice to have a to-do list or a sense of something that you want to accomplish that day. But again, balancing that also with time just to be, and it can be difficult sometimes to find that time just to be in the midst of a busy work day, but finding time to breathe, to be connected to your body, whether that be through some formal movement practice or a brief meditation practice, or connecting with others, friends or family, even if it's for brief periods of time. So those are some of the things that set the stage. Cueing yourself to the day, having that balance of doing and being. And so now we can talk a little bit more about what are some of those things you want to be aware of right as the hour or two before you are going to bed. So there can be things that we really just need to remove. How do you, or one of those things that you want to think about removing are the bright lights, right? So bright overhead lights, especially fluorescent lights, but really all bright overhead lights, again, confuse that day-night clock. A lot of excessive access to or exposure to bright screens, similarly, can be very stimulating. So it's not just the brightness, but it's the spectrum of the brightness, the blue light, but it's also not even just the blue light, because there are applications on your computer and your phone that you can use to filter out that light, but it's how our brain and how our eyes engage with that material that can be very stimulating to the nervous system in a way that's not going to support a good night's sleep. And then the content that we often watch on these screens. So everything from looking at the news or social media or stimulating programs on television or on streaming devices. So trying to at least an hour or two before bed, taking those things, you know, out of the environment, turning down the lights. So then what do you want to do instead? So we think about replacements for those things. So, you know, having a calming evening routine, perhaps a nice warm cup of tea, and, you know, maybe we'll do another video about teas and things that can be helpful for supporting sleep. Connecting to others in our environment, whether we live with partners or spouses, or have animals or that we care for, or have children around. And if we live alone, connecting in other ways, maybe reaching out to folks who are not in our immediate environment to connect, or connecting with more calming materials and information, reading a good book or a magazine. And taking a step further, the idea of rituals. So, you know, having calming regular practices that, you know, get to the point that they sort of become ritualized, that your body starts to associate those with the signal of the end of the day. And we certainly know that having bedtime routines and having bedtime rituals really work for children, and that they do better in terms of often sleeping better. And but somehow as adults, we often think that we should be able to go immediately from working or being very stimulated to going to sleep. So rituals also work for us, and they can take many forms. Depends on what is most helpful to you or what appeals to you, but it can be everything from a journaling practice to maybe taking a hot bath or shower at night. And, you know, a shower or a hot bath, that actually warms up our core temperature, you know, while we're in it. And so then when you get out of the shower, as your body temperature cools down, that actually prepares you to feel more ready to go to sleep. And I'll just say a word or two about yoga, which is a personal favorite practice of mine. And you'll see here that there's a few postures that are shown, and one is a head down, or one of them is a supported posture with the head supported, and another is a forward fold, again, with the head supported on the ground. And so these types of postures where you do have some type of head support are very calming for the nervous system. And it's helpful, as is the posture that you see here with the legs at the wall. And these are very simple postures that most people have some access to. Even if you need more additional head support or support under your low back. But holding postures such as these for at least a few minutes can, again, be very calming to the nervous system, really prepare one for rest and for sleep. So that is what I have, with the exception of the final word, which is that the final, you know, stage of preparing for rest is this sense of release, releasing the day, releasing your expectations of what you might have wanted to accomplish during that day, as well as what this night's sleep and rest may bring. So we don't so much, you know, will ourselves to sleep as we allow our unconscious to assert itself, and trust in our body's ability to be able to fall asleep. So I hope there might have been something out of those strategies that was helpful, or maybe new information, and welcome any comments or feedback, and wishing everyone all the best. Thank you.